Yeah, I'm doing something productive. I'm writing about, portals to other dimensions.
As long as you do see your arms moving, they know it's a bass down there. Like, not something else, right? I'm Forrest of the Unsundered. I'm the lead singer and guitar player. Next to me is Matt, the bass player.
Calls him the Tower of Power, Mr. Eisenhower.
Yeah, Matt Eisenhower, the Tower of Power, the Mountain of Power.
Yes.
And then Talon.
T-Bone,
the drummer, percussionist. Mm-hmm. And together we're the Unsundered, meaning undivided.
I would say the type of music we play is probably somewhere between garage rock, grunge, punk rock. I've kind of heard a mix of all of that, but I don't know. We play music that we like, and it's somewhere between alternative, punk rock. It's rock music. We can all agree on that.
Yeah, yes. Stuff. The grunge movement. Some big bands got their start. I was going to Bainbridge High School, which, doesn't sound very grungy. It's not. It's only gotten worse. But Soundgarden used to practice right down the street from my dad's offices out in this industrial park. They'd hear them playing. There was always stories about how when they got signed, they just left some amps and stuff behind. And one of the guys that worked at the presses where my dad worked, got an amp. I even had this hollow body guitar that had belonged to one of the members of Soundgarden that they left at my friend's parents' rental place. And it was completely just a body and a neck. All the electronics were gone. Frets were worn to nothing. It was beat to crap, some no-name guitar. But allegedly, it was one of theirs. And then it got stolen in college, which sucks. I've had 2 guitars stolen. I had a functioning guitar stolen once, too. And then I went and busked in Pike Place to make money to get back home again after I bought a guitar. Okay. Yeah, grunge was all over. It was the big thing in the 90s. Seattle's always had good music. Hendrix, everybody.
Yeah, Hendrix, Heart. I mean, come on, man. But yeah, me, again, just growing up, it was really cool, being a teenager and just knowing that these people are an hour away. You know what I mean? All these people that this is back when MTV, would play music and you turn on.
Love would show up at people's street parties in Capitol Hill.
Headbangers Ball and all that. You'd over, I remember some of these bands like Alice in Chains and stuff, they're playing at the Kitsap Fairgrounds. Remember when we went up to see that show at the Central Saloon up in Seattle? And it's a lot of these folks cut their teeth there, you know what I mean? Nirvana, Pearl Jam. And
so I was hanging out with all these punk rock guys and learning a few things on guitar. And in college, I wrote parts to a number of songs and never really had an outlet for them. But I had this kind of simple little walking A minor E chord progression thing that I kind of liked. And I started writing this song called Nigel that was about this person who steals a guitar from a pawn shop. I liked the name Nigel, and I was sort of picturing this person who was down on their luck. So many songs sort of start with the blues, and I was always sort of influenced by the blues as a younger person. But he's just down on his luck, and he's sneaks into this pawn shop and steals this guitar. I just thought it was a fun story. When we were with this band, the Unsundered, we were we should make another, a sequel to that, because it sort of ends on a hanger. You don't know what happens to this character, Nigel, after he's been surrounded by police. And so we have a second song that's called Nigel's Plea, where he's sort of explaining his situation to the police, and it's his whole backstory. So we're going to probably have some more about this fictitious character. I always just like the name Nigel.
Alleged guitar thief, right?
Yeah,
alleged. So there's 2 parts. There's Nigel and Nigel's Plea. And it's just this cool kind of story, different grooves. So we were just kind of we should keep adding to this and turn it into our rock opera. Yeah, dancers and people acting it out. Yeah.
The 70s bands had.
We'll get there, but I think that, a rock opera is something that's really obtainable. And the first 2 parts just fit so well together, and they tell this really compelling story. We all just kind of got the idea. It's 2 parts isn't enough. This character, Nigel, the sky is the limit. And I think we've briefly talked about this, but I'm not, I've had some weird, I always have weird ideas, but pertaining to this, I was just kind of tinkering with the idea of like, what if, you know, like, because Nigel is this dude who's like down on his luck and everything like that. Like maybe he rocks so hard, he opens up this other dimension and he finds like, you know, the anti-Nigel. Like he's like this non-rock, like corporate CEO, Fortune 500, you know what I mean? And just like, you know, and then like he just is kind of, yeah, and then like, so this is kind of like what I was tinkering around with. But then like basically this guy, like the original Nigel, he'll like find out like, hey, you know, like all these things that I wanted, like money and all this other stuff. It's like, well, I still can't rock. Now like I can rock so hard I can like travel the multiverse. Yeah, so we're just going to like make it as good as like, I don't know. We have a bunch of ideas. Like, you know. Yeah, it's just like
no shortage of those.
I love Inside Nigel.
Yeah.
That has to happen now.
I know. It's going to be so great. Like this rock opera is going to be rad.
For any new musicians out there, like it's okay to not be dazzlingly great, and it's also okay to like feel stage fright and all those things that are part of this growing process. Like if you're always comfortable, you're not growing. But it was really challenging. We didn't really know anybody, and they'd be like, here's an open mic. And we're like, well, is it okay if we play some sort of edgier punk rock stuff or whatever it might be? And you know, in general, like everywhere you go, people are pretty forgiving and encouraging, and
we found the local music scene has been incredibly wonderful, generous, and with their time and their energy. And
yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised. My experience is like everyone like in the local music community, they're super friendly, super chill, super helpful.
When we leave a show and we're all smiling and our friends are there and like people have driven across the state to come, you know, root for us. And, you know, you leave there and your like wife and kids, like having my high school age kids, like, hey, that was you rocked, you know, like to have your kids like appreciate your music. That's a huge win. Just knowing that we're going out there, we're doing something fun and we're playing a show at a real place on a real stage, and we leave and we don't feel terrible about it. Like we feel like we did a good job. Like that's an awesome feeling.
I would say
it's a
that
huge milestone.
Yeah, for me, my high point was when our first show, because I was only practicing with you guys for what, like 3 weeks?
Yeah, we put right
and I was like,
into the fire.
Yeah, and I was just like so nervous because obviously 3 weeks isn't that long of a time. But you know, we got out there and like we nailed it. So actually,
we played well.
Yeah, so I could actually say probably like within a 30-second period was my high point as well as my low point, because high point was everyone was cheering and we're like, you know, we're the Unsundered. Thank you very much. Our first show, I was only with the band for 3 weeks. And then somebody yelled for an encore, and I hadn't been with the band long enough to know more than what we just played. So then I had to slink off stage while these guys did the encore.
I think you could have never forgot that. And I feel like you practiced so much more. You're like, you know, I'm going to learn all of your songs. That's not again.
But I'm just saying, for 3 weeks, you know, like I said, such a good experience. But then, like I said, it just sucked, like having to slink off stage.
I think if I had known that would be so hurtful to you, I'd be like, that's it for us. You know?
It wasn't hurtful, but I'm just saying, like, it's not a good feeling when people are chanting for an encore and then you have to slink off stage, you know. But it's like, but yeah, I was talking to people in the audience about it, and then like again, you know, so it went like high, low, and then another high. Is those dudes from Box Elder? They're like, hey man, why aren't you up there jamming? And I'm like, you know, guys, I've only been with them for 3 weeks. And they're like, really? Only 3 weeks? Like, wow, you guys sound great. Like, really? You know,
That's good.
And it's just like, they're like, well, I would have never known. They're like, would have thought you guys were jamming together for like years. I'm like, no, man, like 3 weeks. Like we've had like 3 or 4 practices together.
That. Those guys are like, they're huge in Europe, I guess.
This is a weird story, but it's actually one of our first open mics. And we were playing at the Minute Saloon.
Oh, yes.
That actually was inspiration to me, funnily enough. It was just for us tonight. I think, like I said, it was either our first or our second time playing in front of people. The people there were a bit posh. So, you know, people were drinking wine and they were like a little bit older.
But there was like all like 50s, 60s rock. Like everything was very much like American music. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes. And then like we had prepped a few songs. A lot of our earlier material tends to be a little bit more punky.
Jerk Party.
And so we got up there and we started playing, And like after midway through the second song, they were like, we got
like it was like the hook. Like we were getting pulled off of the stage. It was amazing.
But we just played through and like we got out of there. And it felt kind of good because it's like, yeah, well, we're not gonna fucking leave in the middle of our song.
He was like this disgruntled, like elderly shipyard worker that like we were not conforming to his planned open mic or something. But there's nothing open about an open mic if you can't. You know,
I like that we didn't change our music or try to play like covers of something that blended in. We just played our original shit and just got it out there. And like
that night, there was like this one kid that used to live in my neighborhood. This kid,
oh yeah,
he could play the Strat like behind his back. I mean, he's like the next Stevie Ray Vaughan, just shreds. After our show, he's like, "You wrote that song? That was great," you know.
Yeah.
And so we still made connections. We still, even though like we're not maybe as technical as some of these people, they still enjoy what we brought, you know. Just not the old guy with the hook.
Time for the
Hey, thank you for giving us a listen. Please check out more of our music. You can find us at theunsundered.com or facebook.com/theunsundered. Please give us a like. Thank you so much.
I might need him for therapy, and I won't keep the nerves down. He needs a cameo, unless you don't want him to be famous.
Hello, everyone. Please help support this channel by giving me a like and subscribe. This is a passion project, and your support will help me profile more of these talented artists who have dedicated years of their lives to music and deserve to have their stories told and their music heard. Check out these other videos you might like, and the links to the artists are in the description. Thank you.